playground.
Hooray!
Hey! It's my song! Let's sing it! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Come on! It's gonna be fucking awesome! You know the words! It's gonna be fucking awesome! That's it! Sing! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Yeah!
Hey everybody, hi-ho, it's Jesse Blaze Snider, the Coolest Geek Alive. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing so good out there. It is another fabulous Saturday episode of the show, and I've been keeping this positivity thing going for all of our weekend episodes for a little while now, and even this past week, if you didn't get to check it out on Wednesday, I did an awesome episode all about Jim Henson and all of the wonderful works of his career. I'm such a huge Jim Henson fan, and I mean, really, if you have not properly been introduced to the Muppets and the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and Dinosaur and so many fucking great things that have been produced by Jim Henson and his company before he passed away and even after he passed away, you got to go check that out. Now I want to continue that streak and this thing that I've been doing, just putting a highlight on some great stuff. In the past weekends, we talked about Animal World, that Chinese movie, which is so fucking good, playing some paper, rock, scissors in the highest stakes imaginable on a ship, you know, for your lives in the underworld. It's just so fucking cool, and all that awesome crime fantasy. The clown fantasy karate monster demon things that he's fighting. It's so cool. If you haven't had a chance to watch that movie yet, Animal World is so fucking good. I also recommended Reacher. How great is fucking Reacher? 2 seasons of that show, and really solid. I mean, really, granted, Reacher's great in comparison to most of the other things. It's kind of like a standard solid show for like 10 years ago, but now there's nothing like it that's successfully being made like that. And then what else did we talk about? We talked about Oat Studios, the Mr. Neil Blomkamp's series that's on Netflix, or was on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix. Yeah, Netflix. And available on YouTube. Go to their YouTube channel because that's a better way to support them as a company. Oh my God. And go to their YouTube channel because there's more on their YouTube channel that's not on the Netflix thing. You can go find some more stuff, and it's really great. That Oat Studios, all their little shorts. I mean, essentially these are pilots and stuff for Neil Blomkamp. Anyway, I hope you've been paying attention. I hope you've been watching the shows. I hope you've been checking out some of these movies and some of these things. And I hope that you'll take a look at this one. Today we're going to talk about Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's a French film that came out in 2001 and was one of the most successful, highest grossing French movies to ever come out in America. It's subtitled, and I would say maybe more than recommend you doing it with the subtitles. This movie is so beautiful and like elegant and paced well. It's really a very balanced movie. I mean, what a cool movie just in terms of like genre wise. It's like a period action horror thriller, essentially about a wolf monster that's stalking the countryside in France. And it's interesting too to note that I wasn't sure if it was indeed the case, but the plot is loosely based on a real-life series of killings that took place in France in the 18th century, and the famous legend of the Beast of Gévaudan. I'm not really pronouncing it great, but I mean, this shit was shot in France, and I mean, it's so cool. It's this great martial arts action movie with some really genuinely great fight scenes and stuff. I mean, all of them at the very least are just really pretty to look at. There's a lot of slow motion and interesting things being done with the camera work, but like the color saturation and the color palette of this place in France and the things that they're wearing. There's so much about it that is so interesting, and the story I find a lot deeper than your average story. It's almost like one of those like Quentin Tarantino movies, where he's got these actors who are coming in for one day and like a few lines, and they're coming up with these whole crazy backstories to their character that is never even going to make it on screen. Well, in this case, a lot of the stuff that is like that little side backstory thing, it will make it on screen. And it's just, there's like a richness to what's going on and how much is really going on and some of the relationships and interesting things. And a lot of it really isn't like heavy-handed or explained to you very much. You just sit there going, wow, this is so interesting. I find this interesting. Case in point, there's a wonderful relationship. So relationships, it's all about characters and relationship. There's this wonderful relationship that he has. He, you know what? I won't share that one, but I'll say a similar sort of thing. There's a great little romance that goes on in the story, but there's a little bit of like a romantic interest kind of thing or whatever with this character who shows up at the beginning, and she keeps showing up throughout the movie, even though she doesn't necessarily have a very major part. Her character, though never really explained, is the daughter of this other guy who's like another character similar to her who has a part to play, but he just kind of shows up sporadically throughout the movie. But you see this father with his daughter, who's an adult. She's uncontrollable. She's crazy. She's wild. She's literally kind of like an animal. And the father is like kind of constantly like, in these little interactions that you see with her and whatever, you're seeing his frustration over like, I can't control this woman. She's like an animal in her. She's going to do what she's going to do. She's really wild. And it's crazy because I don't know if I'd ever even like considered the idea that like human beings are or were at some point in time or could be in some perspective or whatever, a lot more animalistic. Just think of the person who who's the least good at communicating with their parents and like what level of relationship they have between their parents and them. And then just think of them just being able to communicate just a little bit less. Not just because they couldn't communicate, but just because that wasn't their strong suit. And they were, going with the force, and they were just, using their heart to decide things, even though they didn't know what good or bad was or what anything was, because they weren't thinking very consciously and they weren't very open to things. And it's crazy. Whenever I watch this movie, I just always think, man, I bet a lot of people were like that. Like, I bet there was a certain amount of people in every town that you go to, 100 years ago, when our consciousnesses were a little bit less evolved, who were just like animals. They were quietly getting mad at people and quietly falling in love and then passionately, executing their desires, whatever they might be. It's really crazy. And there's a lot of different people and relationships and sort of energies that you get in this movie that make you sort of just wonder about various, people in history and what they were like, and if people are still like that today or whatever. But really, the movie is just filled with a lot of interesting darkness. There's a lot of politics. Essentially, this is like, this story is from France in the 18th century. It's based on something real, but there's a lot of real things that were going on at the time. From Marquis, like the Marquis de Sade, the Marquis, different rulers or whatever of the time, who were fighting over land and religion, and there's so much shit that was going on in Europe. There was never a moment of history where it was completely fucking dull. There's always been some pretty interesting things going around, especially when you go a little bit further back into history around this time. And they tied in a lot of different things that were going around at this time. Without giving away too much, I'll just say a little bit of like the feelings of people, who are a little bit further away from the kingdom of France. You might be you might be a French person, but the rule of the king wasn't always liked by the people who were under that rule. And and often you would have those people within their own provinces pushing back in one way or another. And when you check out this movie, you'll see that there's some. Don't worry, it's not like a movie that's like all about politics and shit like that. It's not boring. Super fun, and but it has a historical aspect to it that I think is really interesting because it's very rich. You can learn a little bit of something from it, and it adds a lot of weight to so many of the things that are going on in this story. And really, I mean, it is a great story. It's kind of like a buddy movie, a little bit, but like, done very seriously. It's a thriller, it's a horror, it's all those things that I told you. But initially, the two characters from the who come to this town to investigate, sent by the Queen, they are kind of this great duo, and it's Samuel Lee Behan, who's a French lead actor. He's great, and then Mark Dacascos, who you probably know, and Mark Dacascos is fucking amazing. And his character Manny is an Iroquois Indian. It's a really cool story. Again, I try to keep these things spoiler free because these are great films. These are great TV shows, and I don't want to take away all the enjoyment that you're going to have watching it. So I'm going to try not to fucking spoil anything that will make it any less enjoyable for you. But they are a great duo, and they're significantly different than each other, from the one guy being blonde and the other guy having black hair. They have a great rapport and energy about one another. They are both equally like leading men that are like intimidating and cool, and like you believe them. I don't want to say necessarily intimidating, but like they're credible as these leading men. And Mark Dacascos in particular, he's just so damn cool. There's so many great little scenes. I watched this movie again a few years after I watched it. I watched it dubbed, and I didn't like it as much by like a wide margin. I was very let down by it watching it the second time, and this like third or fourth viewing now years later, I watched with subtitles, and I really think part of it is because Mark Dacascos and Samuel Lee Behan and Vincent Cassel, who plays like kind of an antagonist type figure in the movie. You've seen him in lots of other things. Because of Brotherhood of the Wolf, this man has been cast in so many movies. He's in Black Swan, and what are some of the more recent ones? What are some of the movies that I can remember? He's a French actor, so he still does a lot of European films, but he's awesome. He was in Jason Bourne. I'm trying to look at his IMDb real quick. You've seen him in a ton of things. He's really a great actor, and this movie, I think, significantly raised up people's awareness, for his ability. Oh, he was in Ocean's 13, Ocean's 12. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, he's awesome. I'm trying to see some others. He was Shrek. He was the voice of Monsieur Hood. Yeah, Brotherhood of the Wolf. He's amazing. He really is an amazing actor. What's his name again? Vincent Cassel. He's fucking like just so good. Everybody in this movie is great, and it is just beautiful to look at. There's tons of scenes that take place in the rain, tons of scenes that take place outside. Like, so most of the movie takes place outside because they're stalking this wolf. And I mean, there's just great, body horror and, some great fight scenes and really, really amazing costumes and design. Like whenever they go over to the whorehouse or they go into any of these group gatherings of these secret societies or some of these religious factions and stuff, and just all the red and all the different colors that they pick and the outfits that they pick, they so pop. And like right from the beginning, like the jump of this movie, you see there is there's this gang of these dudes who are all dressed as women, and they're attacking these people, and the good guys show up and save them. So at the time, you're like, why are these guys all dressed as women? You have no fucking clue. You don't find out until like a half an hour later or something like that those are the guys who are working for the main dude who's been given the job of finding this monster, this creature. What do they call it? The Beast of Gévaudan. And they get their asses kicked. These guys in the women's clothing. And you find out that these men who he has, they've been dressing them up in women's clothing because the Beast doesn't attack men, only women and children. So the men show up in the beginning in this great, super fucking stylized battle. It's not even battle, but a fight between Mark Dacascos' character and like these 6 dudes, all kind of yucky dressed in drag, and it's one of the most interesting visual movies like ever. And like their whole looks too, they got these low brim hats and these really high collar jackets that they wear. They look so fucking cool. The main character and Mark Dacascos, like, fucking awesome. I mean, really, the look of this movie is so great. When it comes time to the monster, and I'm going to try not to spoil a lot here, but I will. I'm going to warn you. It's back in the day when special effects, CGI, for the most part, and the CGI isn't awesome. It's not terrible, but there's definitely a bit of like sort of color separation problems that are going on where wherever the CGI shows up on screen of this monster as a CGI, you notice that like something a little off about it. Even though it does look pretty good. It does look pretty good, but you do notice that there's a little something off about it. So I'm just going to warn you, like, it's not the greatest special effects in the world. There are some better special effects for some of the close-ups and some of the other pieces, but some of the first bits that you get of this monster, you get them just as CGI because they're like basically kind of trying to they're trying to hide the monster so you can't tell exactly what's going on with him for a while, which is fun, and fine. Like he's being creative about the way that he tells the story so that he can let these mysteries last as mysteries longer and possibly land as reveals later on in the movie. I was talking to my girl Julia and I was saying that she would really like the movie, but I don't know if that she would necessarily not be able to predict it. I think she probably would predict because she loves thrillers, and you'll probably be able to largely predict a lot of the things, but not necessarily everything, and it's satisfying. Like I've talked about this before, everybody thinks it's such a big deal of like, oh, well, you don't want your audience to predict that. It's really not that big a deal. It doesn't really fucking matter if your audience predicts something as long as the thing that they predicted is great. If it's great, it doesn't matter. Really, like being surprised is like not all it's cracked up to be, because surprised and not great, that there's nobody wants that. Nobody wants, oh, wow, that was so surprising in such a terrible way. If you're going to be surprising, it better be great. And if it's not going to be great, don't be surprising. Because great is more important than surprising. Great and surprising equals something a little better than the two. But great is first priority. So let's talk a little bit more about the monster. The monster is very cool. He's got a cool look. The reveal and some of the information about him and how it comes out, how it's revealed. It's all really fun. When you get into some of the more close-up visions of this monster, you're actually going to start seeing some stuff that was created by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, which we talked about on Wednesday. Brotherhood of the Wolf. Actually, that was the thing that reminded me of the movie and made me go, oh, cool, I should do an episode on that this weekend because I love that movie so much and it's such a great genre film. And I'll talk about that in a second, of like genre film and geek culture films and like what am I recommending to you guys here and like what should I recommend to you guys here? This is the Coolest Geek Alive show. Like, so fucking am I giving you something that's like a mainstream whatever? Like, dude, at the end of the day, indie film, shit that people haven't seen, foreign films, things that require a little bit of fucking brains to get to. You got to read some fucking subtitles. A lot of people don't want to fucking do that. Ultimately it's about laziness. People who are lazy and just want to fucking, oh yeah, give me the art and just make it easy for me. I don't want to read that anime. I don't want to read that book. I don't want to fucking do that shit. I don't want to watch the original Office. I don't want to watch the original show. I want to just have it in Americanized form and make it all easy for me. Geeks are not those people. And like, fuck those people, honestly. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care about them. I don't care about their opinions because they literally, every moment that they've ever been entertained, they owe to us. They owe to people like us who give a shit. I saw a comedian talking and he was just like, if you spend a long time watching the Star Wars movies and you watch them all in order and you pay attention to everything that happens, you're a loser. And I would say this motherfucker's a loser who's literally focused on just superficial shit. You just like, because what do you end up doing if you're one of the people who like doesn't enjoy entertainment and isn't like fucking gardening and playing with your dog all the time or whatever? Well, what are you enjoying if you're being entertained, but not the geek, not the subculture entertainment? If you're getting the entertainment, but you're not part of the subculture, you're just a schmuck. You're just a normal schmuck who's allowing everything that they receive into their eye holes and their ear holes to just come through a funnel through the top of their head. And here we go. This is what you're going to know, and this is what you're going to like, and you're going to like Kim Kardashian, and you're going to watch this, and you're going to watch that, and this is what you're going to fight about. Like, that's bullshit. That is the life that I never wanted to lead. That is the antithesis of the geek culture life. So for me, I really feel like, when it comes to films or TV or anything, like, because if this was a comic, it'd be fucking great. If this was an anime, it'd be fucking great. If this is a movie, it'd be fucking great. If it's a TV show, it'd be fucking great. And like, am I going to, like, technically speaking, if you watch it, and I don't want to reveal things by, defining different genre things, but there's a whole bunch of things going on here in the movie where it's like there could be a lot of possibilities about what this wolf is, what kind of monster this is, what's really going on here, and it doesn't really matter what the answer turns out to be, because it's just all about possibilities and the thrills and these monsters. And so it's such a great genre fair. Like I said, there's plenty of horror and cool occult stuff and, magic and witchcraft and secret societies and then history. Plus, you got your fucking giant wolf animal in here, so some cool creature effect. And I told you, up close, there are shots of it, and the wolf monster character is brought to life by the Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and it's quite cool. You don't really get any like wide shots of it when it's that close up and it's real. So like the majority of the wide shots are all that kind of CGI thing, which isn't great. Even though I'd love an action figure of the Brotherhood of the Wolf monster, super awesome. So beyond that, there's more, and there's a few people in here. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all these actresses. The lady who plays the kind of love interest for the main character, Samuel Lee Behan, her name's Emily DeKinney, and she's beautiful and very charming and sweet redheaded girl. And I was very much feeling their relationship, and just you could, and it was good. It was not like just over the top or cheesy. It was subtle, and you understood why they were interested in each other, and then they have some problems, and you understand why that's a problem, and then you understand the manipulation that's going on because she's related to that antagonist guy that I told you, Vincent Castle. And very cool, very well done. It checks the box for a romance for me. Additionally, Monica Bellucci plays a very interesting character in the movie. I'll say she, when you first see her, she seems to be a woman of the night, a very fancy woman of the night. But her character and her arc is actually much deeper and much more interesting than that. And she just literally just by being virtue of just being this beauty, man, it's just like she seems like such a rock star. She's not in the main, she's this little side part. But fuck, whenever she shows up, you're just like, fuck yeah. Really well done, and her energy and who she's playing, and she fits the part really great, and she's very beautiful, and everything about this movie is beautiful. The lady that plays his love interest is beautiful. The lead character has long blonde hair and very I don't know, like a thinner, slightly handsomer Gerard Depardieu. He's a really handsome dude, and fucking Dacascos. Oh man, he looks so handsome and cool, and he has long black hair. There's a couple different times in the movie where he has on these Uruguay war paint. He wears it on his face at one point. He's got these tattoos on his body. I mean, he looks sexy and cool. I saw those tattoos and I was like, fuck, that's so cool. I'd like to get a tattoo like that. That looks so cool. He compliments his body. Dude, I just love beautiful things. I love to look at beautiful things. This is why I write comic books and I read comic books. And dude, he's beautiful, and his fucking the lead guy's beautiful, and the bad guy's ugly, beautiful, ugly, and the ugly things are ugly, and the beautiful things are beautiful, and the colors are fucking saturated. And I love the Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's a long movie. It's really well paced. I think it's 2.5 hours. Could be wrong about that. I see. Sometimes, you pull up all this information here on like certain things, and sometimes everything's like buried in there. You're like, what is it? How? Tell me how long the movie is. Yep, 2 hours and 22 minutes. Although it says 2 hours and 32 minutes as well. So maybe there's a version of it, a director's cut or something like that, that's a little bit longer. But I mean, really, just a feast for your eyes. The same way Animal World was. I told you how great that movie was, and because of its beauty. And I mean, Animal World, I think Animal World is better than this. Animal World is so fucking good. Animal World is so fucking good. But this is a little bit of a different vibe. Animal World really has some pacing to it's like some speed to it and some kinetic energy to it that is like one of the reasons why it's just so great. This is a little bit more subdued, but that's not to say that it doesn't have energy and it doesn't pack a wallop. And I really enjoyed the fuck out of it when I saw it in theaters when it had come out. It was at the time when I was writing article. I used to be the A&E editor for my college newspaper. I went to CW Post, and my freshman year I was the A&E editor for the A&E section, and I upgraded it within a week or two to an 8-page pullout. Every week we did an 8-page section, so I had a cover, an inside cover. I had to do a 2-page, cover story, and then I would have like 3 or 4 writers who would be working for me. Then I would be editing all that stuff and putting the shit together. Anyway, I love working for the newspaper in college and doing this section. This section to me was the entertainment section for college people, for people who were my age, what did they really want? And I saw so many movies back in the day when I was doing that. And one of them at the time was Brotherhood of the Wolf. And I can remember writing a great article about how fucking killer the movie is. And it really is. And because it's a French movie and it's something with subtitles and whatnot, I do occasionally hear it get mentioned. I will see people talk about it, reference it every now and then. But ultimately, only so many people know about it. These things come and they go, and either you heard about it and you got to see it or you didn't. And it's worth your time. It's so worth your time. I'm looking at the other actors right now. Again, they're all French, so I don't really know most of them, but they all just do a very, very good job. There's so many different parts at play, just little parts and minor parts and subtext, kind of to every scene and whatnot. Because I mean, like when you watch the movie from the beginning, by the time you get to the end, you realize like from the beginning, things weren't exactly honest, and that like there were people in the room immediately who knew things that they weren't telling. And like by the last scene to the first scene, you're like, whoa, this dude was in the first scene. And in this first scene, he was aware of everything that we're aware of right now, but we weren't aware of that, but he was aware of that at the time. So that's a really cool thing. It's like slowly the curtain gets unveiled and you come back around to see certain characters. You realize, wow, they've known what I had to fucking spend a whole movie learning. They knew it from the beginning. So it kind of makes it a little different when you go back and you watch it a second time, because you're like, oh, he knew. Oh, like, and some of the performances become a little bit more interesting too, because you're like, oh yeah, he's kind of like he knows something, but he's trying to pretend he doesn't. So, like I said, it's kind of loosely based on a true story. I talked about some of the horror aspects of it. I won't say it's like particularly funny or anything. That's the one aspect that it doesn't exactly have. I mean, maybe a tiny little bit of humor, but really at the end of the day, it comes down to being this awesome, action-packed, monster horror movie thriller filled with beautiful women and beautiful wardrobes and beautiful animals and beautiful scenery and beautiful cinematography and beautiful editing and beautiful music. And I mean, really, I can go on and on and on about how fucking beautiful Brotherhood of the Wolf is. And I wish I could, maybe I can't pronounce the actual name. Like in French, it's like this. No, where is the thing? How did they not have it listed, the actual fucking name? That's annoying. What is it? It's Le Pacte des Lupus. The Pact of the Wolves. There's so much going on in this movie. I really doubt that anybody will be let down, even with my big introduction to this thing. But just to wrap it up and sum it up, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes. It takes its time. And it's thrilling and it's fun and there's action and there's cool stuff. Don't go into it with like an impatient mindset. Don't go into watching it going like, I want to watch the Fast and the Furious. It's not action. It's not har. It's not all monsters all the time. The monsters not on the screen that much, but there's action in it as well. The action's not on the screen all that much, but there's horror in it as well. The horror's not on the screen all that much because it has to make room for all of these things. I mean, but the locations and the castles and the costumes and the people and the performances and the actors, they're really great. I mean, you really freaking hate the people that you're supposed to hate and really genuinely like the people that you're supposed to like and want to see good things happen to the people that you like and want to see terrible things happen to the people that you don't like. And by the midway point of the movie, it basically becomes a revenge film, which is kind of my favorite kind of movie to watch. So halfway through it does intensify even more, maybe a little bit more than halfway through. But yeah, I mean, the movie is not predictable, even though there are some aspects of it that you might be able to predict. There are plenty of shocking, sort of deaths or thinking that somebody died or some things happening where you're like, what? No, what's going to happen now? Like, it's definitely got some real power in the narrative. And, and considering it was based on historical events, the amount of things that they've like tied in based on history and like all the stuff together, it is satisfying as hell. And I just, really like just out of respect, I should look up what the name, who wrote this movie. The writer's name is Stephane Kabel and Christophe Gans, who did the adaptation, original scenario and adaptation. Ooh, so I don't know who's the one who's responsible for this. Who do you give credit? Well, whoever it is, and I mean, honestly, it makes me want to go watch some of these other French movies. Crying Freeman, this guy wrote, apparently, as well, and that stars Mark Dacascos. Maybe I got to go back and watch that. He apparently made Silent Hill as well, wrote Silent Hill. Well, these guys did a great job. Bravo to them. Bravo. Oh, and look at that. Christophe Gans, he actually directed the movie as well. So it's directed by Christophe Gans. Yeah, dude. Christoph, my hat's off to you, man. Beautiful movie. What a beautiful eye you have. You obviously did a great job working and thought it through. It's so well thought out, so well pieced together, well cast. The costumes are fucking incredible. I mean, really, like I could gush about Brotherhood of the Wolf, on and on. I just finished watching it. I was traveling today. I'm doing this really cool spiritual thing this weekend. Spirit Magic, Star Magic Healing, with Jerry Sargent. I'm very excited. Most people probably have no idea what that is. But Jerry Sargent is a very cool dude, and he has a YouTube channel called Star Magic Healing, and he does some next level energetic sort of healing work, and I'm going to work with him tomorrow, and I'm so excited. But I was traveling, and I watched the beginning of Brotherhood of the Wolf this morning, and I just finished watching the end of it like an hour ago. And, oh, God, it's so good. So good. And I was so glad because like I'm traveling, so I had my laptop on my bed, and I was just literally like my computer, like the screen's right next to my face, so it was really easy for me to be scrutinizing it, and it just looks so good, which is one of the reasons actually why the monsters CGI sticks out like a sore thumb, because the rest of everything looks so pretty, looks so well done, and it is a little bit of an eyesore when all of a sudden that CGI comes on screen, because it doesn't play the same way the rest of everything just looks so great, looks so beautiful. Yeah. All right, I'm not going to take us very long for today because it's really just a review. I want you guys to be able to watch this stuff. But yes, last thing I will say is do it with the subtitles if you can. If you don't mind doing the subtitles, do the subtitles. It really did change the viewing experience for me for the worse a little bit to do the thing. At the same time, though, I think probably if you didn't read the subtitles and you just went into it and this is the first time watching the movie and that's just what you did, you'd probably be fine. It's a very cool movie. It's very genre bending. There's just so many aspects to it. It's a very unique film that I think will satisfy the heart and mind of any geek culture enthusiast. So please go watch it. Write to me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com if you watch it and tell me how great it was and how glad you are that I made you watch it. Other than that, I love you. Join me again next Wednesday for my normal episode. You can join me again Saturday when we do another episode like this. I don't know what I'll be doing this Wednesday or this Saturday yet because I'm just kind of rolling with it. But on Monday, I can tell you that my music for this week's All Your Favorite Bands Suck from my Monday night show is going to be Rob Zombie and White Zombie, the music of Rob Zombie. I'm fucking excited about that. I've been listening to a bunch of new albums, actually, that I hadn't heard from Rob, even though I had enough material to go and tell you how great he was. And now I have even more material to tell you how great he is. So yeah, if you like music, come join me on Monday for All Your Favorite Bands Suck, and then Coolest Geek Alive on Wednesday and Saturday. Anyway, I love you with all my heart. I'm Jesse Blaze Snider. I'm the Coolest Geek Alive, but I think you guys are the Coolest Geeks Alive too for listening. I'm actually thinking about changing the name of the show to Coolest Geeks Alive to represent us all. This week I did the Coolest Geek Who Ever Lived, Jim Henson. I'm going to do some more things like that because I want people to understand, like, I don't think I'm the fucking coolest person in the world. I just try to be. That's the whole idea of Coolest Geek Alive is I try to be the coolest person I can be. Just me, by my standards, by my own standards. I get up every day and I try to be the best person I can be. You know? That's it. Anyway, I haven't made the new logo yet or done any of the adjustments that I need to make in order to make that change, but I've been thinking about it. And you might see that happens in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. Write me at jesseblaze.com and join me again next Saturday for another positive installment of the Coolest Geek Alive. All right, guys. Love you. Bye-bye. You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part! Isn't that heavy? I'll play that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living the shit. My voice gonna be fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right or text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
The podcast playground. Hooray!